Have you noticed it, Sagittarius? Something strange has been quietly unfolding around you in recent days, as if an invisible hand, one no one can name, is silently adjusting the entire trajectory of your life. Dreams suddenly become vivid, encounters feel strangely predestined, and then something within you whispers. July 10th is not just another day. It's not a coincidence, not an accident, but a door. And once you step through it, you won't return the same. In today's video, I'll show you why a mysterious shift in the stars is awakening the most sacred part of your soul. And why this warning isn't meant to scare you. It's here to save you from a wrong turn that's quietly taking form just ahead. If this touches something in your heart, comment below. I'm ready to face the truth, to step into my soul's destiny. Because when you write it, it's not just a declaration. It's the activation of a new vibrational field, one that connects you to the stars that chose you long before you were born. And if this video feels valuable, don't forget to like and share it, because maybe, just maybe, someone out there needs to hear this as much as you do right now. But here's the thing. Signs don't always show up like thunder or lightning. Sometimes they come softly, like a strange breeze in a familiar afternoon, a repeating number, a glance that startles you, a vague unease you can't quite name. And if you think you're overthinking it, maybe you've already missed the first warning, spoken in a language only your soul could understand. Because the universe never stays silent. It only whispers. So the question is, are you really listening? Or are you waiting for something so obvious you're missing all the quiet signals that matter the most? Let me show you the signs appearing around you and why July 10th is the moment when they can no longer be ignored. There is one truth I hold deeply, and life has taught it to me the hard way. The universe never stops speaking. When you feel unsettled for no reason, when you keep seeing the number 10, when an old memory returns during an otherwise ordinary moment, that's not random. That's a call. Not from someone else, but from your own soul, trying to wake you from the long sleep that life's busyness may have lulled you into. Maybe you've startled when the clock paused at exactly 7:10, more than once. Or you woke in the middle of the night with a very clear sense that something is coming. Not a vague feeling, but a real vibration deep in your bones. If something keeps repeating, don't brush it off. It could be the answer to a prayer you made long ago, now returning in a different form. Astrologically, right now, Jupiter, your ruling planet, is approaching the 12th house in your birth chart. And if you are a Sagittarius, you feel this more strongly than anyone. The 12th house is the realm of the subconscious, of soul memory, of hidden truths, and it's where the most sacred whispers of the universe echo inside you. When Jupiter crosses this zone, you won't be pushed to act as usual. Instead, you'll be invited to turn inward, to listen to what you normally ignore because you're too busy, too rational, too afraid of your own feelings. I used to ignore that strange sense of wrongness until a decision cost me more than money or time. It cost me my trust in myself. Since then, I've learned to listen, not just with my ears, but with my heart. Because the truth is, the universe always whispers before it ever screams. Sometimes the only thing standing between you and a spiritual crash is a quiet intuition you chose not to believe. And the saddest part? Not everyone gets the warning twice. If something's been repeating, a number, a memory, a phrase, pause. Put your hand on your chest and ask, what am I being reminded of that I'm still refusing to face? Because Sagittarius, you are not ordinary. You were born under the light of truth, freedom, and soul journeys that go beyond the ordinary mind. And that's why you are often the one chosen to see before others, to sense before others, to awaken first. But awakening isn't always light. Sometimes it's the unease you can't explain, the feeling of being lost, the loneliness inside places that once gave you comfort. Do you know why? Because you're being called to a higher level. And that level won't open if you keep ignoring the signs sent to you each day. So I ask you, not for an answer, but so you'll be honest with yourself. Have you been noticing the strange patterns? A repeated sensation, a memory that won't let go, something you can't explain? Share it in the comments, because maybe you're not the only one who's seen it. And when you write it out, that might just be the moment you name what the universe has been waiting for you to see. We are living in a sensitive moment, and July 10th is the trigger point for everything you've been ignoring to return, not to haunt you, but to awaken you. But not all signs come from the outside. Some are sent from deep within you. From a promise you once made when you still believed in something with all your heart. From a feeling you buried, thinking time would erase it. And maybe those old promises have become invisible strings pulling you away from what you truly deserve. So the question is, are you still being held back by something you no longer believe in, but haven't yet let go? Let's go deeper. Into the place Sagittarius rarely stops, the archive of old beliefs and unspoken emotions. There are things that no longer exist in reality, but still live intact within you. A promise once whispered, under a starlit sky, between two hearts that believed nothing could separate them. A pure dream. A plan you once wrote down with all your faith and love. Or a sentence someone once promised you. And even though they left long ago, that sentence keeps echoing somewhere in your memory like a song that never stops playing. Are you still carrying those things, Sagittarius? Even if you are the wanderer of the zodiac, even if you live by freedom and a hunger to move forward, there may still be a part of you inside that hasn't let go. A part still waiting for something that has no road back. And the saddest truth is, sometimes the very things we once cherished become the burdens we no longer dare to set down. Astrologically, these days, the planets are gathering in earth signs, bringing the energy of slowing down, of roots, of stillness. And for a Sagittarius so used to constant movement, this feels like a sudden, uncomfortable pause. You may feel as if you're being pulled back, as if something is holding you from behind, while your spirit tries to reach forward. But if you're brave enough to look inward, you'll realize no one is holding you back, except yourself. And an old version of you still clutching what no longer aligns with who your soul has now become. I lived in that feeling for a long time. I believed someone would return. I thought, if I could just be patient enough, everything would go back to how it once was. But you know what? The universe never leads you back to what was. It only leads you through it. And sometimes the hardest part isn't moving forward. It's accepting that some things will never return, and you still have to go on without them. Maybe you too have been holding on to a promise, not because you still believe in it, but because you didn't want to hurt someone with the truth that you've changed. Let me say this, gently and with all my heart. You're no longer in that place, and you don't owe it to anyone to stay for a version of yourself that's no longer here. The universe is inviting you to write a new promise to yourself. A promise not rooted in fear, but grounded in loyalty to your soul's evolution. You deserve a future that isn't chained to your past. And if you truly want to fly, you can't carry old baggage with you anymore. So pause and ask yourself, what in the past do I know I need to release, but still hold on to? What promise has expired, but I continue fulfilling it like a habit? Be honest, you're not alone. And if you're brave enough, share it in the comments. Because sometimes, just saying it out loud is enough to lighten your soul. If you feel that a part of you just got unburdened, share this as a quiet prayer, sent to someone out there who might also need a gentle awakening like the one you've just received. Like the one that touched you now. Leave a like. Share this video. Because you never know, the person you love might also be held back by a promise they no longer believe in. And they might be waiting for someone to say what they haven't yet found the courage to name. You thought you were ready to let go, but there are final tests that only appear at the most critical moments. And for you, July 10th is that moment. It's not random, it's not accidental. This is when the universe sends a clear warning. The question is, will you be awake enough to see it? Some days pass like any other, but some days move like an invisible current, and if you don't pay attention, they will carry you in a completely different direction. July 10th is that kind of day. Not because it's a beautiful number, but because it is the intersection point of multiple energy streams, both astrological and spiritual. And if you're not present, you may pass it by as if you've just turned down a sacred invitation. From an astrological view, this day holds intense aspects. A new moon forms in a water sign, stirring emotional layers you thought you had already healed. Jupiter, your ruling planet, forms a square with planets in earth signs, bringing feelings of delay, restriction, and internal friction. But in truth, this is a spiritual audit, testing the maturity of your inner world. For Sagittarius, this feels deeply unnatural. You are always moving, always expanding, always believing. Just go, and you'll get there. But if you don't stop at the right time to listen, you may be walking far from the direction your soul actually longs to reach. I'm not saying this to scare you. I say it because I too once passed through such a day, without realizing that it was the day I was being asked to step into a higher realm. I missed it, and the price wasn't a specific event. The price was living another year as an old version of myself. July 10th is the day you must ask yourself honest questions. Am I doing this out of true love or out of habit? Am I staying because my intuition tells me so, or because I fear change? Am I heading in the right direction, or am I just moving for the sake of movement? The universe has a delicate way of delivering warnings, not through loud signs, but through a call no one answers. An opportunity that slips through your fingers, an uneasy feeling you can't explain. And then you ask, why such a coincidence? But it's not a coincidence. It's a marker that you are standing at the crossroads between intuition and choice. Will you choose to trust and adjust, or ignore and keep running? Don't overlook the smallest things, because often they are the loudest voices of the universe. If lately you've felt a strange fatigue, a shift in your moods, or decisions that seem to hit a wall, see them for what they are, signs. You are not being blocked. You are being held back to be protected. Comment below. I'm ready to listen to the warning the universe has for me. Because once you speak it, you are no longer avoiding it. And when you stop avoiding, you begin to move in the right direction. If any part of this touched something deep in you, leave a like. Or send this video to someone you feel may also need a gentle warning, just like you once did. And then you wonder, if this is a warning, why is everything slowing down instead of becoming clearer? Why do the doors that seemed ready to open suddenly close at the very last moment? Don't be too quick to assume you're being delayed, because the truth may be the complete opposite. You are being held back to be protected, and this slowdown might be the greatest blessing you've ever received. There's something few people ever tell you, Sagittarius, that on the path of awakening, the hardest part isn't recognizing the truth. It's accepting that you'll have to walk a long stretch of it without anyone beside you. And it's not because you've been left behind, it's because you are the one who goes first. You are the light bringer, the pioneer, the one who sees what others can't, who hears the truth within silence, and who senses the future while others still cling to the past. That is the gift the universe gave you, and also the burden that no one but you can fully understand. Maybe lately, you've been feeling distant from the people who once felt familiar. The conversations don't sync anymore. You smile, but don't feel connected. You show up, but you no longer belong. And in your heart, a quiet question echoes. Why do I feel lost in my own life? I understand, because I've been there too. I used to think something was wrong with me, that maybe I was too harsh, too sensitive, too different. But the truth is, you are not lost. You are simply moving ahead. Light never begins in the crowd. It always starts with one soul, brave enough to face the dark first. And sometimes, because you see more clearly, you can no longer pretend that the old ways still feel right. You recognize relationships that are no longer healthy. You sense the negative energy others have yet to acknowledge. You're no longer interested in keeping peace through compromise that costs you your truth. And that might make you appear different in the eyes of others. But you're not strange. You're simply someone who has begun to remember who you truly are. And that is a sacred journey. But it's not an easy one. As a forerunner, you'll often be the first to walk alone. The one who steps into shadow before anyone else dares. The one who releases what's old, not because you don't love it anymore, but because you understand. Light is only born through honesty. So if you're feeling out of place, don't turn back. If you feel like you no longer belong, don't retreat. That feeling is not a sign you're on the wrong path. It's confirmation that you are standing on the threshold of a higher consciousness. Let me ask you, gently but seriously, are you going through this lonely phase? And if so, do you have the courage to keep walking, even if no one claps for you? Share that in the comments. Because sometimes just knowing another soul is also walking through their own dark night is enough to keep your feet steady. And if this message speaks the words your heart couldn't say, send this video to someone you care about, because maybe they too are carrying a light no one else has seen yet. But even light needs protection. And maybe the delays you've been facing lately are not obstacles at all. Maybe they're a sacred shield the universe has quietly placed around you. So in the next part, I'll show you why the things that didn't happen might be the biggest blessings you've ever received. There are days that leave no trace, but there are also days where one fleeting choice can redirect your entire destiny. July 10th is such a day. It won't ask you to do anything dramatic. There's no spotlight, no sign pointing the way, only a brief moment. And how you respond to it will shape what unfolds next. Maybe it's a surprise call from someone in your past, and you'll have to choose: answer or stay silent. Maybe it's a photo falling from an old book reminding you of a dream you once abandoned, and you'll ask, should I go back, or is it finally time to let go? Or maybe it's a simple message, but layered with meaning, and your soul will have to decide, do I answer with anger, with silence, or with forgiveness? I've seen and lived how something that seemed small became a turning point. A friend of mine on his birthday received a message from his father, a man he never thought he'd forgive, and instead of deleting it like every time before, he opened it, read it, and replied. That reply led to a conversation, and that conversation opened the door to a healing he never thought possible. A small act, but done with awareness, can end a cycle of pain that has lasted a lifetime. Why now? Because Mercury is traveling through a water sign, touching the deepest emotional layers within you. When Mercury, planet of communication, mind, and choice, moves through water, you don't just think. You feel. And what you feel on July 10th may not be easy, but it will be perfectly timed. Sagittarius is quick to act. You move from intuition, from freedom, from passion. But this day is not for immediate action. It's a day to look a little deeper, to pause a little longer, and to ask yourself again, am I reacting from pain, or am I choosing from love? Am I trying to escape, or am I truly ready to end the old and begin the new? The right decision is not the one that looks right to others. It's the one that brings peace to your heart. If you're standing in the middle of something unresolved in your heart, half wanting to stay, half ready to leave, then July 10th might just be your turning point. Comment: I choose to act from love, not from fear. Because when you write that down, you're not just declaring it to the universe, you're giving your power back to yourself. And if this message resonates with you, share this video, because someone out there may need this reminder too. You don't have to do something grand, you just have to be awake in a small moment. And what happens if you choose rightly? The next part will show you why the things you thought were delays, failures, or rejections were really unseen hands protecting you from something you weren't yet ready to face. There's a very special kind of protection. It doesn't arrive with alarm bells. It doesn't look like a hand reaching out to save you. It comes as delay, as a door that won't open, as silence with no explanation, as someone not returning right when you thought you were finally ready. And you, as a Sagittarius, you're not used to that. You love speed. You crave freedom. You carry the arrow that always points forward, refusing to be held back by time, restrictions, or vague instructions like, just wait a little longer. You are the spiritual explorer, and sometimes that makes it harder to accept the universe's slow pace. But let me tell you something, from honest experience. Not everything you want is what you need. And not everything delayed is a loss. Sometimes it's a blessing that's been timed for your highest good. I've been there. I've raged at the universe when a door didn't open like I planned. I've cried over a love that couldn't move forward, even when the feelings were still alive. I've sat in confusion when an opportunity came close, then disappeared without warning. But then, I looked back, and I saw, if things had unfolded my way back then, I wouldn't have been ready to receive them. I might have ruined something sacred, simply because I hadn't healed enough yet. Delays are not punishments. They're protection from what your strength has not yet grown to carry. And this delay, Sagittarius, it is not a rejection. It is an intentional pause from a divine force that's keeping you from a wrong turn. Have you ever wondered, what if what you're so desperate to attain is actually blocking what's truly meant for you? Can you pause, even just for a breath, to ask, am I trying to force time, or am I truly walking with destiny? Because sometimes, the reason you're not where you want to be is because your soul is being guided somewhere that fits you more. If you're in a season of feeling delayed, held back, unable to move forward as planned, comment below. I trust that this delay is the universe's protection for my soul. You're not alone in this feeling, and you're not wrong for finding the stillness uncomfortable. But in all that hasn't happened yet, there may be an angel quietly turning disaster away from you, keeping your light untouched while you're still in the process of becoming. If this feels true for you now, leave a heart or share this video with someone who's rushing through their confusion. Because maybe they think they've been left behind, when in truth, they're being carefully and lovingly kept safe. And here's the miracle. When you accept the delay, you are not just being patient. You are activating a new level of energy, one where the gifts that were once withheld return in ways more beautiful and unexpected than you ever imagined. So, what happens when those gifts finally come back? Let me share with you the signs that a great blessing is approaching after a long wait, and how to open your heart to receive it without repeating the lessons of the past. If July 10th is a door, then what awaits you on the other side is unlike anything you've hoped for before. It's not a reward for being perfect. It's the result of a conscious surrender. You only need one thing: the courage to let go of what's old first. The universe cannot place something new into hands still clinging to the past. And it's not because it wants to punish you, but because it knows what's coming is so sacred, it cannot be mixed with what no longer fits your soul. Let me tell you a true story. A friend of mine once held on tightly to a deep and painful relationship. She prayed for months for him to return, for things to be like they were. But one day, she stopped begging. Instead, she whispered, "God, if this doesn't come from you, please take it out of my heart." And then, she forgave. Not because he deserved it, but because her heart deserved healing. Just a few weeks later, a new man entered her life. No rush, no charm or spectacle. Just a presence that made her feel safe in ways she thought she had lost forever. A man who listened, who kept his word, who loved in action. And in a quiet conversation one day, he told her, "I'm not here to replace anyone. I'm here because you finally chose yourself." I'm not saying everyone will have the same kind of ending, but I believe, with everything I've lived, that when you choose the light, you stop attracting the things that were made to hurt you. Let July 10th be the day you declare, "I am ready to choose the light," even if it means walking away from what I was once deeply attached to. You may not see the result right away. There may be no fireworks, no miracle in the night, but within you, something will shift. A new rhythm in your heart, a quiet peace, even if nothing around you has changed yet. And then, a few days later, a few weeks later, a few months later, the thing you once prayed for might arrive. But not to bring you back, to bring you forward, into a new chapter where the old pain doesn't repeat itself. Sagittarius, you are the sign of distant horizons, of dreams beyond what the mind can contain. You were not born to live small, and certainly not to stay stuck in what has already expired. So be honest with yourself. Are you ready to open your hands so something more beautiful can finally be placed in them? If this resonates, write it down. I'm ready to choose the light, even if it means letting go of what once felt familiar. Write it, not for others to see, but so you can witness that you finally chose yourself. And if you believe someone else is standing at the same threshold as you, send them this video. Because maybe they're waiting for a sign and you were the one sent to deliver it. And finally, do you know what's most sacred about this ending? It's a message, not from me, not from the stars, but from your own soul in the future. Looking back, whispering gently, "Thank you for not giving up. Thank you for staying with this journey, a journey that was never just about astrology, but about your heart, your soul, and the quiet path you've been walking all along." If what you've just heard touched something in you, know that it wasn't random, because you are not alone, and the universe has never stopped whispering to you, even if you've stopped listening. July 10th will arrive like any other day. but you will no longer be the same person. Not if today you dare to choose awareness over fear, light over regret, and forward motion, even if there are still tears. I invite you right now to write something for yourself in the comments. A declaration, a promise, even a sigh. Because when you say out loud what your heart has been holding inside, you take one important step toward becoming the version of yourself your soul was born to be. And if this video brought you comfort, clarity, or simply reminded you that you're not as lost as you once thought, leave a heart and share it with someone you love, because the light you received today might just be what someone else is desperately waiting for. Thank you, Sagittarius, for never stopping your search for truth. And thank you for having the courage to live a meaningful life, even when it hasn't been easy. We'll meet again in another video where a new chapter in your cosmic map will begin to unfold. You might be tired, you might have cried, but if you've made it to these final lines, it means one part of you still believes. And what's coming will be greater, better, and more beautiful than anything you thought you lost.